Wonderful. Well, as always, thank you very much for joining us on this call tonight. These calls are very, very important. There's some big stuff happening. Yeah, before we start the presentation, we always like to put the disclaimer up there. Unfortunately, we live in a litigious world, and we need to make sure that we cover ourselves properly. Not that there's much to worry about too much with the BioLimitless operation, but we always like to be totally professional. So again, thank you very much. It's great to see everybody here on the call tonight. We have people from all over the world. So the usual good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I know it's a little tacky now, but wherever you are in the world, welcome. And it's good to see you here. Again, this is our disclaimer. If this is something that you like the look of, take a screenshot of this, as this should be really your first part of your due diligence to make sure that you have that there in front of you. But let's dive on in, because what we're going to be talking about tonight is like super important. It's something some of you will have heard about, but some of you will not. And I wanted to start initially with this countdown, because in almost 137 days, there's going to be a massive shift in one of the biggest industries that affects us all, whether we're young, old, in every country, all over the world. And this shift will literally change everything. And for those of you, millions of folks whose personal health and the health of their loved ones is at the center of their world, and that that the health systems that are out there are not only inadequate, but it almost seems that it's intentionally that way, you're going to want to be a part of this. This is truly groundbreaking stuff. But first, what I wanted to do was go back to April 2021, not too long ago, although it does feel like forever ago. You'll remember there was a certain something going on, a certain pandemic going on, bringing the world to a complete standstill, something that I think none of us ever thought could actually happen, that those that are in power could wield the kind of power that would shut everything down, stop kids going into school, stop people going to visit their elderly grandparents, stop people going to work. And literally the mainstream media was broadcasting daily as new cases rose into the hundreds of thousands and into the millions. And many people out there who didn't make it, who lost their lives. It was total chaos and confusion out there. And I know I'm not speaking just for myself. I know you all experienced it. But here's what's important, and this is kind of like the beginning of our story, because whilst the world was in chaos, there was one man who stood calm. He was a doctor with a simple approach to the pandemic, and how he would protect his 11,000 patients. And all he was doing was using common sense, the right supplements, the right medication, and immune support. And as I say, very much a common sense approach. And okay, so he was out there doing this thing. He had 11,000 patients. What kind of results did we have? Because again, we were hearing that the mass media was showing all of these casualties around the world, but in our doctor's case, he treated 11,000 COVID positive patients. He had 0 deaths and 0 hospitalizations, which really made him stand out. The word spread about this doctor, whispers grew, the news got right to the very, very top. Even the US government noticed what was going on. However, this doctor was not revered as a hero, as you would expect. 11,000 patients, 0 hospitalizations, 0 deaths. You'd think that he would be revered as a hero. No one was asking us, tell us what you're doing, doctor, so we can spread the word to other doctors and slow down this pandemic and save more lives. Oh no, this huge attention he was receiving was not for the lives that he was saving. it was about his methods. He was not following the script of big government. And so instead of congratulations and worldwide favorable recognition, this same US government fined our doctor and fined him $508 billion. That's $500 billion. That is the more than the GDP of many countries out there. So I think they were trying to make some kind of statement, and they very much had the message, stay in line, get back in line, or pay the price. And boy, what a massive price that was. Now, our doctor knew he was right, and he certainly was not going to be intimidated. And he fought a relentless battle for 3.5 years. He spent millions of his own money, and our doctor stood firm, not just for himself, not just for his patients, but for everybody out there and for true healthcare. He was looking out there for truth and transparency. And at the end of those 3.5 years, fortunately, justice prevailed. The charges were actually dropped. The 508 billion, which still is laughable because that's just so much money for one individual to have to pay up as a fine. But that fine was fortunately erased. However, this fight left its mark, and from the ashes of this tragedy, a movement was born. Some would even say a revolution or a crusade. And that movement was called BioLimitless. And that's what we're going to be talking about this evening. Not only a movement, literally a revolution. As I say, some would even call it a crusade. And it was basically the purpose of BioLimitless is to empower the individual, empower you and I to take control of our own health and the health of the people around us, who we love and care about, to break free from this. I think what we all know is a broken system that holds the whole world in shackles, and it really, really needs to be changed. So let's hear from this doctor, the man behind this movement, as he shares the journey he's been on for the past 20 years, his vision and the future of healthcare. And this was recorded at a recent event, a soft launch of BioLimitless in Vegas. This is the beginning of something huge. So have a listen to our doctor, and then I'll come back and we'll talk about what this means to you and I, how we can participate in what's happening. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Eric Naputi.
All right. Well, it's so great to be here with everybody. We've been saying for a while, all roads lead to Las Vegas, and here we are today. So I'm so excited. I'm so humbled. I'm so honored to be here. I have to tell you, there's a bit of a positive, amazing emotion in the environment. But many of you know me. I've got to know quite a few of you over the last couple months, and you understand the roller coaster ride that we've been through to get to this point. And Jeremy's 100% right. When you are breaking through limitations and when you're challenging status quos that have, been too big to fail, how many of y'all know that, the devil doesn't like whenever you start messing up things that he's been putting together for a long time. And I'm not trying to get preachy, but we have so much to do together. And I want to make this very clear about everything. This is about we, not about me. How many of you would agree that, if you go back and you look at history, history is all about different cycles. We see these ebbs and flows of empires and dynasties and technologies and things come and pass. Well, how many would agree that we're at the bottom of one of those valleys right now? And how many would you agree that we the people that are in this room right now, and we the people that are watching online all over the world, we get to be the ones not only to watch this new age of enlightenment come up, but we get to lead the whole thing from the health and wealth standpoint. How big of an opportunity is that? So before I get into my talk this morning, we have a lot that we're going to cover today. So I'm going to tell you that you're going to get a lot of information. Some of you are going to get information that you've heard before. Some of you are going to get information that you don't quite understand. It's a process, or for my Canadian friends that are here, it's a process. We will get through this together, okay? Jeremy's right. Today is the day that we're finally kicking the tires off this. We've been working on this for a long time. I will tell you, this project has been a project of love, hate, and everything you can think of in between for the last 20 years. And the last 4 years have been a really interesting battle to get to this point today. So let me tell you a little bit about the journey before I tell you why we're here. So many of you know me. My name is Dr. Eric Naputi. I'm a physician by trade. You know, I always tell folks I'm the son of a pig farmer from Central Illinois because I'm just a humble guy that just tries to help folks every day. Well, I'm a serial entrepreneur as well. You know, we have multiple biotech companies. I told you I've had over 30 of my own practices. I've owned and operated surgical centers. I've been in the laboratory and lab sciences space. I've been part owner of a hospital system. I've been in and around the healthcare system, not just from a physician, but also from an entrepreneur. So I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. And folks, there's a lot more ugly than there is good. And that's not okay. And I know many of you have unfortunately succumbed, and family members have had problems with this system to this day. Lack of trust, lack of transparency, lack of truth. We're going to fix that. I'll tell you that many of you know that my story really got pretty crazy at the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, when this crazy pandemic happened across the globe. I'll tell you that at the beginning of this pandemic, myself and literally hundreds of doctors were meeting virtually online from all over the globe, talking about what's happening in our countries. What are we seeing in our communities? How are we getting together globally and helping change the world? Like when the pandemic came, doctors who really wanted to help people got together and said, okay, it's our Super Bowl. How do we shine? Well, there was a really weird thing that happened. Whenever we presented solutions, doctors like myself, well, they didn't receive them very well. In fact, in my practices, we saw over 11,000 patients, and all of them combined that were positive for COVID. Nobody died. Nobody went to the hospital. And instead of the government saying, hey, what did you do? How did you do that? They attacked us. They actually sued me for $508 billion. Let me say that again, $508 billion. And after a long 3.5-year battle, and spent over $5 million fighting the government, we won that battle. But yeah, thank you. But like Jeremy said, and he was at my house that day. Like, there's no such thing as coincidences. We're all here for a reason today. You all have a story. You all have a reason. You have a purpose of why you're here. And Jeremy was at my house the day that literally the battle was over. And it was the most anticlimactic day in my life. I thought for sure when we won this thing, there was going to be like, you know, ticker time parade. I was going to get my name in the lights, Super Bowl. Where are you going, Dr. Eric? I'm going to Disneyland. You know, it was like, okay, innocent, moving on. I'm like, really? That was it? But Jeremy was at my house and he told me two things. And I just really want to make sure everybody understands this. And this is the heart of this guy. He came to me, the first thing to tell me was, don't forget that, man, there's a real amazing passage in the Bible in the book of Isaiah. It says he will give you the treasures of the darkness. But that means you have to go through the darkness to get it. But what I'll tell you is on the other side of that darkness, man, there's a bright light. And it's really amazing what's on the other side of that. And who you become during that process. And being able to shine the light over here instead of shining the light on problems, saying, here's the problem. Now we have the opportunity to go over here and shine the light and say, here's the solution. Here's where we need to go. And how many of you would agree that that's what we need in this world today? The second thing he told me, again, we talk a little religion between friends every once in a while, right? We're not going to talk religion or politics from stage too much today, I hope, but he also said to me, don't forget that Jesus was crucified in public and resurrected in private. And man, that was powerful. Because Yes, and I'll tell you why. Because I stand up here today literally representing hundreds of thousands of disenfranchised healthcare workers across the globe. Some of you that are in this room right now, some of you that are in this room that were called out by name by the United States federal government as someone on the disinformation dozen group. Because what you did was save people's lives. Because you did what was right and you stood when there was nothing else to do but stand. You stood because it was the right thing to do. And how many of you would agree with me that globally that is one of the most powerful things that we need now more than ever in this world is people who will stand for truth, trust, and transparency and for what's right. Thank you. And I want you to understand that that's what BioLimitless is truly about. So let's get into this conversation because today you're going to learn a lot. I'm going to give you some big, broad concepts. We're going to throw a lot of great information at you. We're going to show you what's possible. We're literally today just giving you the tip of the iceberg of this brand new ecosystem that we've created together that truly is going to change the world forever. And I know that the history books are going to be writing about what we together are doing because we get to see that new age of enlightenment in the health space, the wealth space, all decentralized, brought back into the hands of we the people. We're going to put health and care back into healthcare, and it's on a decentralized ecosystem that's never been done before, folks. This is an absolute game changer. So let's talk a little bit about why are we here. You know, people ask me, Dr. Eric, why did you become a physician? Well, I fell in love with the human body when I was a little kid. I thought it was amazing, but the real reason why I became a doctor was because of my mother. My mom was sick all the time. And I vowed that I was going to learn and do as many things as I could to make sure that my mother lived as long as a happy, healthy life as she could, and so that other people's mothers could do the same. And I will tell you that's been a very interesting road because it got me in many, many conversations that you folks might consider troublesome. Whenever you ask one question, in my profession, in the health and wellness space and in the medical space, if you start asking the question, why, you are now a problem. If you start asking, why does somebody have that problem? Why do we do this? Folks, our system is broken. I mean, I don't think anybody in here would disagree with me at all. And by the way, when I had this conversation in Japan, when we had it in Europe, when we had it in the Middle East, everybody agrees the problem is true across the globe. It's time for a solution and a shift, but nobody's stepped up to do it yet. And again, the biggest reason why, when people ask me, Doc, why are you bringing part of your ecosystem to a peer-to-peer, direct-to-consumer network marketing component? It's real simple, folks, because if you're going to have a system that's by the people, for the people, and of the people, it has to be driven by the people, and the people have to be able not just to participate, but to monetize from that system. It's the only way that it can happen. And when I tell people that, they say that's the most common sense thing you could possibly think of because our systems are broken. We have a shady wealth care system and we have a fractured healthcare system. Our wealth care system, it's just like Jeremy said. We're seeing, look what just happened. I was talking to some of our friends in Japan. Look what just happened to the Japanese market. Look what's happening in the United States right now. Look what's happening in all of our worlds. I just had some patients tell me that they wanted to go and put some braces on their child. They went to their bank to get cash, $2,500 cash to pay the orthodontist for braces, and the bank ran them through the third degree. It took them almost a whole day to get their money because the bank didn't want to give them the money that was theirs. This is not okay. And so our system is all about institutionalized dividing and conquer us as people. And I will tell you, you're going to hear a lot about how healthcare and wealth care goes together today. You're going to hear a lot about that because the fractured healthcare system is really all about symptoms and not solutions. You folks have heard me say this before from the stage that just in the United States alone, we spend $5 trillion a year on the healthcare system in America by itself. $5 trillion a year. Half of that money, 2.5 trillion of that money, literally goes to bureaucratic waste and spend and administrative fees. 2.5 trillion of those dollars goes towards paperwork instead of improving the quality of your health. Do you want to know why it cost you $200 for a Tylenol at the doctor's office? This is not okay. The healthcare system that we have today is not equitable. People don't have access to it. It's not affordable. But do you know what the real thing is? People lack of knowledge leads to their death. Would you agree with that? Without knowledge, people will perish. Doctor is Latin for teacher. How many of you know that the system right now is set up that if you have a disease that is a lifestyle disease, which is almost 90% of all diseases that are on doctors' diagnostic sheets today, we're talking heart disease, we're talking diabetes, we're talking all these things. These are lifestyle changes. You can't fix those with pills, potions, lotions, and etc. And oh, by the way, you're going to hear me say a lot about supplements, vitamins, and nutrients. You cannot out-supplement a crappy lifestyle. I'm just going to tell you, if you feel like crap, it might be because you eat like crap, you sleep like crap, you think like crap. And so we got to change that whole thing. And I promise you that if you will engage us, in this process, that we will teach you, we will reach you, we will inspire you, and we'll help you inspire other people to change their lives forever. Because the truth will set us all free, and the truth will make you happy. And I will tell you that a happy, healthy nation is a happy, wealthy nation. But I want you to understand as well that we're not here to challenge the status quo. We're not here to go after the established system that's here. We're not here saying that system's bad, we need a new one. We're pointing a finger saying it's not very good, it doesn't work. We're saying here's a parallel system. Here's a parallel system that you can participate in. The system that you can participate in is vast. And I'm going to show you a picture of the ecosystem that BioLimitless has, just a sneak peek of it, so you can kind of get an idea what's going to happen in the future. But I want you to understand the system that is created today, just in the United States of America, that one that is a $5 trillion a year business, $250 billion of that goes back into the hands of your insurance companies, into HMOs, PPOs, into other healthcare organizations. That is an absolute waste. And let me just tell you, folks, I don't want to fight against those folks. We don't need to fight against those folks. We have a system that allows people to participate because they have something called free will and freedom. And if you have freedom and free will to choose, people are going to choose our system over the others. Now, let me share this with you. Those of you that are in the United States understand this, and I really want to hammer this and hit this home. This is right out of the United States government's insurance. Did you know that? Medicare is our socialized medicine in the United States. So those of you that are in other countries can relate to this. This is our socialized system of healthcare. The Medicare guideline, listen to this, because some of you are asking me, well, is BioLimitless covered by insurance? Is the genetic testing covered by your insurance? Is this covered by that? This system, the system that's created, that all the other insurance companies have to follow, says this: a treatment plan that seeks to prevent disease, promote health, and prolong and enhance the quality of your life. Hold on, back up. How many of you would like to prevent disease? How many of you think that would be a good thing? Okay. How many of you think it'd be good to promote health? Okay. How many of you would like to learn like prolonging and enhancing the quality of your life and the quantity? That's longevity and anti-aging. Well, the United States government and their insurance says that if you want to do any of those things, or a therapy that's performed to maintain or prevent deterioration, which is aging, of conditions, is deemed what? Not medically necessary, which means it's what? Not covered. So I need you to understand that the system that's out here right now is not there to help you on the level that you think it is. So if you have the ability to take care of yourself, and you're going to hear this again and again and again, one of the premises of BioLimitless is self-care is the real healthcare. And why are we all over that? There's a lot of reasons, because it's true, and we can own that conversation. You know, the health and wellness world, the healthcare world, that's already owned. That's a multi-trillion-dollar a year industry. The wellness world. Remember when the wellness revolution started? I mean, I remember that 20 years ago. Everything's about wellness. Well, everybody has wellness now. Walgreens has wellness. They're giving you preventative medications. That makes absolutely no sense. That makes no sense. But you know what it makes? A lot of dollars. And listen, I have no problem living in a society where we all can benefit, where we all can prosper. Folks, but it's not working. It's broken. Think about this. If you take the top 100 industrialized countries on the planet, the top 100, and you pull the United States out of that, you add all 99 of the number of how much money these countries spend on their healthcare system, if you combine all these together, the United States still spends more than all of these combined. Did you know that? So if we're spending more than all those combined, we should be number one in everything. Well, we're in the bottom third when it comes to longevity, when it comes to quality of life, when it comes to how we manage chronic disease, when it comes to infant mortality. That's not okay. We're not getting what we're paying for. So what does that mean? If a system is supposedly too big to fail, what do? We create a new one. And that's what we've done here with BioLimitless. So check this out. This is just a sneak peek of the ecosystem. I mean, this is just a sneak peek of the ecosystem of BioLimitless. So if you look, we've got BioLimitless right here in the middle. And then we're here today talking about BioLimitless Direct. That's our direct-to-consumer aspect. There's a blockchain component and a smart contract connected with that. We have a crowdfunding license opportunity. Could you imagine having BioLimitless Centers of Excellence, 2,000 facilities all across the globe, a place where people can go to get real health care? Folks, I'm going to tell you, there are doctors in this room right now who are just like me, functional medicine practitioners who help people get to the root cause of their problems. Who, by the way, when you come see doctors like us, it could very well be an expensive opportunity to get healthy. But you get really healthy. We've been able to systemize that and make it affordable so that everybody can do it. And folks, that's one of the main things that we have as a problem. When I've had so many folks from Japan and Europe and all over the world come and see me at my practices in St. Louis, Missouri. What's our biggest frustration? Where do we send them to for the care that them and their family and their community needs once they leave? Folks, this is a revolutionary project that we have together, and I promise you, we're going to be getting written up in the history books about this. BioLimitless also has a retail component. We have our brick and mortar BioLimitless Centers of Excellence, which you're going to hear a lot about this afternoon. This morning, we're going to be talking a lot about the healthcare component. This afternoon, we're going to be talking a lot about the wealth care component, and we're going to talk about how it all comes together, okay? And then we've got our BioLimitless professionals. So it's a project we have for influencers. Or if you're a doctor, if you already have a brick and mortar facility, or if you're a telehealth practitioner and you want to be able to utilize our products and services through the telehealth systems, you can do those. Folks, I'm telling you right now, the buzz is so hot. We tried so hard. You have no idea how hard I tried to keep so many of the things that we're doing secret, like double top secret, like our formulas, like the book that I wrote, like all the other things that somehow you guys found out about all that kind of stuff because you're pretty excited about it. But folks, what we have here and what we're showing you truly is the tip of the iceberg. And today, we're going to talk a lot about the science and what we're launching, the genetic profile test, why we're doing that, the 2 foundational formulas, why we're doing that. But you have to understand, this is just phase 1. Phase 2, when we launch in Dubai, the global launch of this, we're going to have another dozen formulas that are all peptide-driven formulas. Everything from weight loss to muscle building to anti-aging to, we already talked about the cosmetics creams and the things that we're bringing to the market. You know, we already talked about the FDA-approved exosome oral therapies that we're going to be bringing to the market. You know, the brick-and-mortar facilities, all these things that we're building. If you'll stay with us through this process, and it's going to be a wild, exciting ride, but it's going to be a little bumpy ride as well. How many of y'all understand when you do something new, there's going to be some bumps and bruises along the way? But how many of you would agree that if you're willing to go into the darkness, the treasures on the other side of that are pretty freaking amazing? Yeah. So the ecosystem for today that we're going to be sharing is vast, it's deep. There's a lot of information. Some of you are going to leave here excited. Most of you are going to leave here excited. Some of you might even leave here a little bit confused about, what do I do next? Well, I want you to understand that I know that doctor is Latin for teacher. So our job is to teach, reach, inspire, and motivate as many people as we possibly can along this journey. We're going to give all of you the tools that you need to be successful. You know, I always tell my patients, we'll give you the map, the keys in the car, you still got to drive it. Well, we're going to do that for all of our global people, our patients, all of our builders. Everybody's going to have that opportunity. We're in this together. This is not about me, this is about we. And I'm telling you, we can be the change that we want to see. All the change that when we're watching television, when we're with our friends and we're hearing all this stuff going on in the world and we're saying, man, that needs to be different. Man, that should be changed. It's time for us to stop saying something, and it's time for us to start doing something. And ladies and gentlemen, that's what BioLimitless is all about.
So that event actually just took place in August in Las Vegas, and we were in a room full of top doctors, healthcare professionals, and leaders throughout the world, and it was amazing to see such consensus amongst the healthcare industry across the world. But the point more than anything else was this is where that 137 days that I was talking about, because that was the soft launch, or like the prequel to the big launch that's happening in March of next year. That's going to be at the Coca-Cola Arena in Dubai. Some of us on this call have already been to that location and know that it's extremely impressive, and it's kind of like the center of the world when it comes to launching brand new technologies, and that will be where the main launch, the big launch that's happening. Phase 2 that Dr. Eric talked about is going to be a monster of a revolution. And we have now these 137 days to put together an army to make sure that we can address this healthcare revolution with the impetus that we want to do. Now, I tell you this because the purpose of this presentation, why are we talking about this, 137 days before the launch? And it's not to give some kind of complex presentation about all of the ecosystem that Dr. Eric was talking about there. This is about this is about the first look. This is about rallying the troops in these 137 days as we build up to the launch in Dubai, to pull together everyone who knows the system is broken and wants to be a part of this change. Many of my friends are really interested, have been studying this type of thing for decades. And now we have a solution. That's what we're doing here, is we are rallying the troops as we build towards this big launch in Dubai in March. And we want to have a huge army of millions before the launch, so we have the impact that we needed. So you see, by definition, we need millions of individuals. As you heard Dr. Eric talking about, he's talking about, this is for the people and by the people, but it's got to be driven by the people, because there's no point in just creating another company with a centralized few, because we know what that model does. It breeds corruption again. And yet, and even if we won against the current system, we just, be replacing it. And so we want to pull together hundreds of thousands of individuals, disenfranchised people like you and I, to create this huge silent majority and create this movement of change, a decentralized force. You heard Dr. Eric talking about the blockchain technology and the smart contract technology. And whether you understand what that is or not, what it is the solution to corrupt centralized power. It's a decentralized solution, and that's what we are building here. You see, we know there is the knowledge, there is the science, there is the medical technology to have everyone across the world in every continent in good health, both physically and mentally, where like the medical attention, like hospitals and doctors, is the exception rather than the rule. And BioLimitless is built by the people for the people, and we are going to be driving it as well. The people are going to be driving it, you see, and that's what we're going to be doing. So 137 days. What's next? Why are we showing this now? It's because to put together an army like this is a major undertaking. But it's something that absolutely has to be done. And there's stuff that we can be doing now. There's opportunities to improve health right now, to improve wealth care right now. The question, first of all, should be, do you see what we see? Do you look at, listen to Dr. Eric and think, yes, I've been looking for something like this for the longest time. I know many of my doctor friends, one or two who are on this call right now, who are like, wow, this is what I've been looking for decades. Do you see what Dr. Eric sees? Do you think the system is broken? Based on the fact that whilst the US spends far more money than any other country on healthcare, yet it ranks like way down the list compared to those other countries. If you see what we see, the first thing to do is to make sure that you kind of plug in. And part of that is getting back to the person who invited you here and tell them what you'd like to learn more about. One of the first things you can do is, you heard Dr. Eric talking about the book that he's written. I don't know if you can see it on my small camera right now. I have a copy right now. It's a hardback book. It's a fantastic book, and it talks about all of the stuff that we can be doing right now for the purpose of self-care. So the first thing you can do is just go to Amazon. It's under $20. Go and buy the book. It's a phenomenal book. It talks about everything, from obviously products that can help you out. It talks about DNA testing, but it also talks about, when you go to sleep at night, don't have your phone near the bed. Have it, in another room, ideally. It talks about all sorts of different things that you could be doing right now to get yourself in much better healthcare. Additionally, as part of the whole ecosystem that Dr. Eric was talking about, we have our own very, very high quality DNA testing, probably the best DNA testing in the world, and how you can get your very own your DNA tested, and there's a personalized app that has been put together based on your DNA. And it can give you everything that you need to be able to take care of yourself right now. We also have a number of products that are available for us to include in this self-care process. You can learn about, life changes and products that are based purely upon your DNA blueprint, so that you can make a change there. Additionally, you heard Dr. Eric talking about this being for the people, by the people, but it needs to be driven by the people. And so if you want to become a BioLimitless member and share the opportunity for others. I mean, because we all want to take care of our families. We all want to take care of our friends and our loved ones, and we want to make sure that we can share that. You and I know many, many people who are highly motivated for this new movement within healthcare. Again, get back to the person who invited you to this call and kind of plug in, and they can show you how to become a BioLimitless member as well. So there's not only the book, there's not only a way to become a member of this huge army, but myself and my business partner who's on the call with us right now, Miss B, one of our favorite parts is the opportunity to become a BioLimitless founder, with the opportunity to benefit financially from the 2,000 BioLimitless centers that Dr. Eric talked about in his presentation, being built all across the world. You can be a shareholder owner in these centers. Again, a solution not owned by this central corporate entity, but a solution owned by the people, owned by the BioLimitless community. Those 2,000 BioLimitless centers can be owned by you and me and just regular, ordinary people. Again, if you get back to the person who invited you to this presentation, there's a presentation that was put together by Dr. CJ Mertz, who is the CEO of the BioLimitless centers. And yeah, definitely watch that. It's incredible what these centers are going to be able to do. Of course, there's a fourth option. You can do all three. Get yourself the book, become a BioLimitless member. And if you're interested in participating in the crowdfund to become part of the community that's going to own these community centers of excellence, with of course all of the financial benefits of being an owner. We're talking about lifetime passive income from 2,000 centers from around the world. You and I do not get the opportunity to participate in that, but this is one of the plus sides of participating in the BioLimitless movement that we're doing here. So very, very interesting stuff. But bottom line, for far too long, the healthcare system has been broken. And despite more money than ever being thrown at it, it's getting worse. The food that we eat is getting worse. And whilst there is money to be made out of keeping people sick, there's a healthcare system that has no incentive to fix that. The pharmaceutical companies are out there have an obligation to their shareholders to keep making money. And if they stop people being sick, then they're doing a disservice to their shareholders, which is always been a huge dichotomy to me. And we and our loved ones are the ones who suffer for it. That's what BioLimitless is all about. BioLimitless as a movement, as a revolution, as a crusade, is going to be changing all of that by allowing ordinary people like you and I to not only self-care with preventative solutions, but also create wealth care, as those funds that are being currently used to keep people sick can be used and reallocated towards keeping people well with constant preventative solutions and stuff like that. So that's what this presentation is all about. 137 days until the big launch in Dubai. All of those things I was talking about to you about, the book, becoming a member, crowdfunding the BioLimitless centers, can all be being done right now. It's something we can do right now, but we're aiming towards this big launch. The BioLimitless revolution will change all of that, what seems to be twisted approach to healthcare. And it's going to allow ordinary people like you and I not only to take care of ourselves with self-care, with solutions that both prevent sickness, but also for those who are already sick, this BioLimitless approach is going to reach the root cause of the illness and give us the ability to self-care, where, as I said earlier on, doctors and hospitals are the exception rather than the rule. And this is, I think, something extremely important. And additionally, just as you heard Dr. Eric talk about in the video, just as the financial gain was the negative motivation for all of for the old healthcare system to keep people sick, right? With BioLimitless, those same dollars that are being used as negative motivation for the old health system, those same dollars can be redirected to you and I in a wealth care model, offering positive solutions, offering preventative care solutions, and offering healthy product solutions and lifestyle solutions to give us a much better quality of life and a much longer lifestyle. And that's what BioLimitless is all about. Imagine the empowerment you and I, regular, ordinary people, can feel knowing that we're going to be able to take care of ourselves with self-care, take care of our loved ones, both young and old, with self-care, whilst at the same time generating a wholesome income as we drive this process forward from those dollars that at one time were used to keep people sick. And that to me is very, very exciting. I do hope you see what we see. The health of our future generations depend on it. Self-care is the real healthcare. This is going to take an army of hundreds of thousands to make this happen. So please get back to the person who invited you and tell them where you would like to fit in. Are you looking to get one of the books? Are you looking to become a BioLimitless member? Are you looking to participate in the crowdfund of these centers around the world? I do hope that you join us over in Dubai. Again, there's lots that we can be doing right now, but we've got this launch in March. If you want to participate in that, we've already got thousands of people, so don't leave it too late. Otherwise, that arena is going to get full. You can go to the link here, https://limitless2025.com. Go and get your ticket there and participate in this huge movement, revolution, crusade. Very, very exciting stuff. And again, thank you very much for coming and joining us on this presentation today. I think there's a lot to be excited about. Was get some perspective from a couple of the other folks on the call. My dear friend Kevin often does these presentations with me. He's a lot better looking than I am, a lot smoother than I am, a lot smarter than I am, but has a wonderful, I know he very much thinks the same way that I do. And Kevin, love to get some perspective on your thoughts on what's happening with this whole BioLimitless revolution. Understood.
Well, Richard, I got to tell you that every time I see this presentation, I'm so impressed. Personally, I know you, and I know you put a lot of time and energy into it. But even on top of that, the information that is shared is absolutely tremendous. It's really given you a little sneak peek behind the curtain as to how to build an international health system that runs parallel to the health systems that are already out there. We're not really taking anything away. We're just kind of adding to and changing the focus a little bit. And it's exciting to know that there's a three-pronged approach to this opportunity. First of all, like you were saying, you can actually use the products to get yourself healthy. You can actually share the product with friends if you choose to. Another is to actually become a retailer of this on a scale where you can sell it to health and wellness places that are interested in helping their patients get to the root cause of things. And certainly the last, which is the most exciting, and I know my wife and I are very excited about this, is the crowdfunding aspect of it. Not only are we going to get to get healthy, but we get to fund centers that will help other people get healthy as well. And to me, that's the most important part. My wife and I are definitely committed to health and wellness. We do the things that we need to do in order to stay that way because we want to live a long and healthy life. And according to Dr. Naputi, 140 isn't out of reach. So if we can get to that, that would be awesome. But the most important thing is to get healthy, stay healthy, and help others get healthy as well.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks, Kev. I that you and Deb, I mean, you two are you have your own podcast, I know, where you're talking about
Yes.
healthcare, as we get older, as we get to, obviously we're still very young, but we're talking to those a lot older than us. But I know you guys are very passionate in this space. And actually, Deb, I'm going to come to you real quick because Obviously, you know, you and Kev share this vision for healthcare into the future, without visiting the doctor every day. No offense to doctors, you know, doctors need to be there. We absolutely need them, but wouldn't it be great if, you know, it's the exception rather than the rule? And I know you come from a background of knowing Dr. Eric for longer than most of us.
I
Um,
do. I do.
you know, love to hear your your thoughts about that.
Well, first of all, every time I hear him, you kind of have to relate because he's talking about being a pig farmer. Well, I was born and raised on a farm as well, so I kind of have a little connection there. I know what that life is all about. But yeah, Dr. Eric became someone that I found back in late 2019 and 2020. I was very intrigued and very, I guess, just concerned. I knew there were different ways to treat that big thing that was going on back then, other than, you know, they didn't really want you in the facilities unless you were very ill. And I knew there were ways to prevent and to treat that had to be different than what we were doing. And so I kind of went down the rabbit hole and started to do some research, and I found a group of doctors that were doing it a different way. And Dr. Eric was one of those doctors. And so I have been intrigued and have been following him for four years or plus, you know. And so when I found out that he was going to be the leading doctor in this project, you can imagine the shock and the excitement to find out that he was one of the doctors that I'd been following. And this is the kind of life I want to lead. I would rather go to a non-traditional doctor. I want to know what the root problem is. I don't want to take medications to hide everything.
No,
So,
100%. And again, it's interesting. I've got the book here. I kind of pointed out just a second ago. You know, it's very much a case of, well, what do I do next? And as I say, if nothing else, do get yourself a copy of this book. I've read the book, and it's really in depth, but at the same time, it's written for, you know, pretty basic people. I'm not a medical expert in any way, but there's many chapters in here, you know, which, you know, the real big buzzword right now is our microbiome, and there's a full you know, section on that, you know, talking about the toxic world, the power of peptides, brain balancing, and advanced treatment technologies. And again, not all of these. Many of the solutions in this book are not, you know, any kind of supplementation or medication. It's just pure, simple lifestyle changes that we can do. And this book is fantastic for that. So I couldn't be more, I couldn't encourage you more to get a copy of this book. I think it's, and again, if you're interested to become a part of this army, then this is kind of like the army rule book, as it were. It's good to have this kind of knowledge so that as we're talking about helping our friends and family, you know, have longer, more healthy lifestyles, we can do with just a little bit of knowledge. Again, we don't have to be doctors. We've got you know, Dr. Chris is on the call right now. Has studied for decades, you know, how to help people, and there's a time and a place when we need to go and see the expert. But in so many cases, we can prevent all of that just with some good lifestyle changes. So thanks very much, Deb. I always appreciate it. And Kev, thank you very much for your input. We're getting towards the top of the hour, so I'm going to hand it back to you in just a second, Deb. But just to kind of summarize again, we've got 137 days between now and the big launch that's happening in March in Dubai. There's a lot of things that we can be doing today. It's not just, you know, kind of hurry up and sit and wait for 137 days. No, get yourself a copy of the book, read the book. There's a lot of information on a lot of the supplementation that we have. Get back to the person who invited you. They can show you all of the products that we have so far. We've got a lot more that are coming down the line. Also, you can participate in the crowdfunding of these BioLimitless centers. That's something we can be doing right now as we build this huge army. But again, the big direction that we're heading in is for the big launch. If you are in any way interested in health and wellness, which I know so many of you are, then come and join us in Dubai. It's a fantastic area. If you've not been to Dubai before, it's a fantastic place to be. Super, upbeat, very positive, very forward-thinking place to go and visit. And of course, you get to see the actual event at the Coca-Cola Arena. Go to again, it's limitless2025.com. Go and get your tickets. Come and join us. You got 6 months. 5 months, 6 months, 137 days. I know that to save the money for your plane ticket and for the hotel. It's surprisingly inexpensive. And again, if this is something that you're interested in doing, this is life-changing, both from a health perspective, but also a wealth perspective. So I can't encourage you more to go to that big event. So again, get back to the person who invited you to this call. They'll help show you where you can get the book. They'll show you where you can learn about all of the supplementation and the lifestyle changes that we can do. They'll show you how you can participate in the crowdfunding. And with that, I want to thank everybody on behalf of myself and my business partner, Miss B. Thank you very much, everybody, for showing up. Konnichiwa, thank you for all our Japanese friends, and sayonara, thank you very much for joining us here. And I'm going to hand the call back to you, Deb, and thank you very much, as always, for hosting the call.
You're so welcome, Richard. I wanted to add just a little bit to those tickets for Dubai. There is an early bird special going on right now. I don't know how long it's going to last, but right now you can go onto that limitless2025.com site, and your ticket is going to be $99. And again, I don't know how long it's going to last. I do know that it goes up to, I think, 149, maybe around 150. So, save yourself some money. Do it early. Yeah, you can buy the ticket now as far as the event, and then buy your plane tickets and your hotel later. But just get that ticket bought at a cheaper price. I'm going to have a Thursday night call beginning at 7, and that is for members only, people that are already a part of our group. And we're going to have a question and answer call Thursday night starting at 7. So if you have anyone that's interested, or if you yourself are interested and have some questions, bring them to the call. And I believe that's it for this evening. So thank you on behalf of Richard and myself for joining us. Have a wonderful evening. Don't forget to get back to the person that invited you if you have questions, and we will see you next week.